Hi, my name is Lino Coria. I'm an electrical engineer and I do computer vision and machine learning. I think originally I started from Twitter, communicating with people who are part of the organization. Then they kindly invited me to give a talk, and then also to share my ideas on how I engage my daughters in STEM activities. I have an 8-year-old and an almost 13-year-old daughter, and bunch of ideas that I have as a father, not as an expert in childhood education, right? But things that have worked for us in terms of STEM. Well, I think children are born asking why, right? And then sometimes we grown-ups make sure they stop asking those questions. And I think that's the main thing we have to avoid, and have children keep asking why. If we see, the situation with the pandemic, science has been the answer, right? So I think it's very important that we are ensuring that children are critical thinkers, that they are interested in understanding the principles of how things work, how the world, how the universe works, that they also, math is great, and I guess technology, all the things they love, the phones, the TV, all the devices, all the the devices they talk to, everything relies on math. So I also think it is important that they sort of get the behind the scenes of how all these gadgets work. I think as little kids, toddlers are always asking why. You can see they like colors and patterns. When my daughters were like months old, they would fit things into a box, right? And things like that. They're figuring out shapes. I would say riding a bicycle is a little bit about math, right? Because they have to understand how the pedaling turns into the wheels turning, all those things. So I don't think it has to be this very formal sit and learn about science, right? It's when you're cooking, you're counting how many vegetables you're putting in the pot, all this very simple things. You're going for a walk, and you're looking at the numbers in the houses, and you're counting steps and things like that. So it's just, I think if we make it organic, it's fun, and it becomes part of their life. I want my daughters to be kind, and I want my daughters to be happy. If they choose a career in science, that's great. If they choose technology or math, that's great. But if they choose to do something else, it's okay. But I think that this critical thinking, this thinking like a scientist, thinking like an engineer approach is very useful in life, regardless of what you do. I think critical thinking is key. So every time they have a question, we have to, why is this? Is this really because of this, or is this because of that? They sometimes can, I don't think that's true. Let me check on this, right? We go and borrow books. We watch some documentaries. We watch TV. I'm lucky that we have a lot of friends who are scientists. So also they know that people who are family friends are scientists, and they can go and ask them. Visits to the library, and in terms of math in particular, I find that an extra half hour that I spend, especially with my oldest daughter, almost 13-year-old, if I spend with her an extra 30 minutes per week, it's not a lot, but I can just see the impact of 30 minutes of me helping her with math, showing her like a side of whatever she's working on. Let's say she's working on algebra or something like that. If I show her like a little extra, something clicks in her brain, and it just creates a big difference on her understanding of things. Okay, sure. The first thing, and this I read, this is not my idea, this I read. The main thing not the main thing, but the first thing you have to do as a dad is to share all the responsibilities at home. You have to do the cooking, you have to do the cleaning, and I'm not great at that sometimes, but the thing is that your daughter starts not thinking about all the chores as a mom thing, and then my dad is the one who goes to work. You have to first make it fair at home, wife and husband, right? Or dads to dads, partners just share the activities, share the responsibility, and also sometimes a lot of parents, and I'm talking, I come from Mexico, sometimes it's very, let's say, old school, traditional parenting, and it's the dads don't ever go and talk to the teachers. They are not involved in your mom helps you with the homework and I don't, right? So it's get involved, get to really know your daughters, spend time with them, make it very organic. You don't have to teach them equations to be teaching them math. You have to do it, as I said, sometimes, when they were younger, it's like, we need 5 tomatoes. Let's make sure when we go to the supermarket and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomatoes, right? And you move and you keep doing things like that. As they get older, well, you probably give them resources, you give them books, you show them something. My oldest daughter, well, now I can show her a little bit of my work, of how things work. She sees that this is code, and the code translates into actions, and these actions, help making big decisions, things like that. And I would say, take it, little by little. It's not overwhelming, and make it fun. I think a mentor is not someone who tells you what to do, but is someone who listens to you, understands you, cares a lot about you, and then shows you sometimes by asking questions, shows you a bunch of different paths you can take, different ways things can go. And so by talking, by being listened to, by seeing all these achievements that a mentor has, the girl could have a better idea of what to do and what to avoid. I'm very lucky. My dad is an engineer, so in this regard, a lot of the things I needed, I could just ask him, right? But not every child has a parent that is a scientist, or a neighbor who happens to be an engineer, right? So I would say, helping to make these connections, to help girls connect with mentors is great. It's going to help them in life. Definitely, I can think of, I always say, every time on TV I look at a scientist, it's a man, and when he usually doesn't have an accent, right? And when he does, it's never a Mexican accent like mine. So anyways, and there's less representation of women, and then less representation of, girls or women that look like they will eventually look like. So I think it's important that they can see that people who look or talk like them are everywhere, right? Not just in STEM, but in politics and in sports, in every aspect of our world. Well, so for instance, so I'm not a scientist, I'm an engineer, and if that's okay, I can give an example from my field. So I do machine learning and computer vision. So part of computer vision, for instance, would be face detection and face recognition. There's a lot of applications being built, there's a lot of money being employed for detecting people and making decisions based on how people look. When you don't have diversity, when you have So this works by people labeling things first. You show a bunch of examples, like thousands, tens of thousands of examples to a computer, and then the computer learns the patterns. But if there's bias on whoever labeled this data, like if you have, let's say, people of color usually branded as criminals, or every time you have someone smart is the picture of a man, things like that, then the computer is going to start taking decisions as a black box that you don't see, and it's not going to have a positive impact on a lot of people, right? On women, on people of color. So it's going to have very negative impact. So by having diversity, having different points of view, we all have biases, but by having a diverse group of people, we can make sure that those biases are, if not eliminated, at least significantly reduced. And of course, there's a lot of applications. I mean, I can see that everything is built for me. The world is built for me. I can see with my daughters, especially the youngest one, she's 8, the world is not built for her, right? Like she has to reach for things. And in the same way, this happens, the world is built by a small group of people. The big decisions are made by a small group of people. And I think we should let everybody be part of this decision-making process. Well, so I would say they're super welcoming. I love talking to everybody. I went to one event when we still could meet people, right? And I talked to a bunch of people, and it mostly women, and it was great. Right away, it was a friendly environment. My daughters were able to attend. No, that one I wasn't giving a talk; I was just listening. But it was just this very welcoming environment. And when I gave my talk, it was virtual. I could, I could see the faces. I could listen to them. Again, it was, you feel comfortable. You learn a few things of how to, to be more aware of what you say. I think sometimes, you just say things without really processing that, oh, this is so centered on me being a man or something like that, right? So, but anyways, it has been great meeting everybody, talking to everybody. So something I like about attending these events is that they are family oriented, and it, again, it doesn't have to be that because this is a society for women, this is the only society that allows children to join, or wives and spouses, let's say. It has to be everybody. We have to make sure that if we're having some networking event, any other organization can take from SCWIST leadership and think, if we're having a meeting and it's, at 4, at 5, at 6 p.m., probably kids are back home, right? And it's okay if they are there. And not only it's okay, let's make sure kids are happy there. And at the same time, this was great for my daughters, right? Like to see so many women working on different things and talking, even though they probably were not like listening to everything they were saying, just this world where, all these people are coming and networking. It's just a great way to start on life. Well, so I will share something that I got on the feedback from my talk, and I didn't even realize that I was showing previous work that I had done, and so I wanted to use official, let's say, images from the companies that I have been a part of, and I just grabbed one, and one of them had a virtual image of, it was like a video game, I'm guessing, of a woman that was dressed in a way that was probably not appropriate for my slides. And I didn't think of it. I grabbed it from the official website of this company, right, to show the work that I had been done. And they were using that example. And I never thought this is going to make some people feel uncomfortable. And I just didn't think, right? And after I got this feedback, and the feedback was given in the, very constructive feedback. Well, now I have to make sure every time I make a presentation, would someone find this, would someone have a problem with this? And do I need to show it? Is there a better way, a better image I can show, or something like that? So I don't call myself an ally because I think it's a huge word, but I'm always thankful when people use that to refer to me. I think the best way is to listen, is to whatever little position of power I have, to use it to help everybody, to help women, and to identify. And the other thing is, when I see something that is wrong, right? And a lot of conversations sometimes only happen between men, right? When there's only men in the room, conversations are different. That you make sure that you draw the line, that you explain this is not correct, and that you you have to draw lines and to sometimes have conversations that are comfortable with your male peers, right? And it's just this is a very complicated subject, and I know that you probably want something short, but I think it's just making the world is making sure everybody has opportunities, and making sure everybody has the chance to do what they want and to share their ideas. I just want to say thank you for thinking of me as an ally. I always try to do my best. I'm still learning, and I'm very happy this organization exists, making life for everybody in Canada, making life better.